All right, everybody. Well, welcome back to another episode of Granted. It has been almost a month now since we got started, since being back in Knoxville. And today I'm bringing someone that I would consider a close friend, even after knowing him a very short time. So, Neil, if you could introduce yourself really quick, that'd be great.
Yeah, Grant, thanks for having me. My name is Neil Patel. Um, I am a finance major here at UT. I'm a junior. I'm really into commercial real estate in general. Yeah, 3 years in, 1 year left to go, and wondering how this podcast is gonna go. Hopefully for the best.
Yes, I think it's going to be amazing, and the reason me and Neil connected is because we're both a part of a project called Project Inspire, which is a student-led podcast through Haslam, and I'm kind of curious, what led you towards wanting to apply for that position as a host, which you might be doing here soon. Like, what made you want to apply to that podcast or like to become a part of this group?
Yeah, honestly, that's a great question, Grant. From high school, I started off doing a lot of anchoring. So I was the anchor for my morning announcements. And every morning, and the reason why I wanted to be this position is I'm honestly an extrovert. I love talking to people. Obviously, there's times where I don't want to talk to people. That's like that introverted side of me. But I always get pumped up. Like I always tell my friends as a joke, if I'm going to the gym hitting like a bench max, I'd love to just talk to someone random before doing it instead of
Yeah,
drinking an energy drink. That just pumps me up. So I decided to go for it, and I really wanted to change it. That's why I did it. A lot of the people that were talking in the morning announcements were just boring. No offense, they were my friends, but
right.
nobody listened. Nobody wanted to hear what was going on, and then they'd ask like, "Hey, what's going on this week, or what's going on next month?" So I wanted to change it and make it entertaining, and that's like the number one thing I think of. I'm sure Grant does an amazing job with that on his podcast, making humor. But I love using that as a reason to reel people in. And in today's society, where people are, I don't know, like short form videos and
Right.
whatnot, just a lot of short attention span. Having a joke in between will make somebody stop and be like, I actually want to listen to what he's saying. So that's kind of why I started. Then I did like 2 years of that. Left after senior year, and it was fantastic. I enjoyed going up there every day, every morning, giving people the announcements, but also just like telling them jokes and
Yeah.
whatnot, and saw how far I could push it without getting canceled or getting kicked off. And thankfully, I didn't. But no, yeah. So then I heard of this position in Haslam, being a Haslam student and whatnot, and I was like, I could be a host again. Maybe say I'm Neil Patel all over again and start the new thing.
That is amazing. Yeah, I feel like you probably were a great morning announcement guy, man. What type of jokes
Thank you,
are we
brother.
cracking? Like what,
Uh,
are they dad jokes? Are they,
honest,
somewhere a little bit higher level,
I would say dad jokes, yes, a ton of them. I really did dad jokes to make it sarcastic, just because I knew a bunch of my friends would like see that and like make fun of me afterwards.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Honestly, it would just be like on the spot. Like a lot of the other hosts and a lot of the other anchors, they'd like read the script prior. They'd do all this stuff. I'd be like, all right, let's get the show running as
Yeah.
soon as I come in. It was also because I come in late, like almost late all the time,
Right.
so I didn't have time to. But I'd walk in, be like, all right, let's get the show running, and I sit down and I start reading off the prompter. And if there's something I see, like a funny word, or like like maybe talking about the new German club that came out, like
Hmm.
I like, I'd like it would just be funny because I'm like butchering. It's honestly just natural. Like
Yeah.
everything that you talk about, if you're just talking like a podcast, stuff comes naturally to you. So I really believed in that. So instead of thinking of jokes prior, I just like if I butcher a word in German, or like I say something that's like funny, or like mess up something, I just go along with it and just go on a
Absolutely.
tangent. So that's kind of what I was saying. Here and there, I try to push my limits, like I was saying, to see how far I could take a joke to
Right.
reaching like the inappropriate boundary. But thankfully, I didn't get kicked out. I mean, the principal walked in once and was like, "Yo," but it was like, other than that, it was fine.
That's awesome. They
Yeah,
probably rocked with you heavy then.
yeah, I think so.
I think, one thing you mentioned that's really funny is like I think I get the very same rush that you do from meeting new people.
Hmm.
And I haven't heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a certain energy that you feel when you're connecting with someone new, and I completely relate to that. So that was funny that you brought that up.
of course.
The other thing that I really agree with is the short form content, man. It's crazy. Like the reason that podcasts grow is not because of the long form content. It's
Hmm.
actually just because it's clipped well and then
Hmm.
it's promoted well. Like people don't want to watch as much as I do put out long episodes, but I know people aren't watching those full episodes mostly because it's just too long for their attention span.
Yeah.
So I think it's, throwing humor in there and being your authentic self will always keep people watching.
Of course.
And I was reading something today about this guy who he transitioned from TikTok to Spotify and started his own show, but he actually retained more people through his show because he was just being authentic. So
Yeah,
like when you're doing the morning announcements and you're cracking a joke, people are engaged with that now
exactly.
and they're willing to listen to the 5 minute announcement or whatever it
Yeah.
is. So that's cool. But let's transition into like, I know that you're a super smart individual. You're someone that values good habits.
I appreciate that.
It's your third year here. What has been like your journey at UT, and kind of walk me through kind of the progression you've made over time as a person.
Yeah, as a person, honestly, I don't know. It's like a kind of a roller coaster. So I'd also just start off transitioning from, being a senior in high school to a freshman. That's probably what most people are like. Like I'd say for you, for everybody else that we know, is like the most, I guess, scary part coming
Yeah,
into
most
college.
definitely.
It's like cliche, obviously, but it's true.
Right.
You're used to like one of the biggest things, studying. It's just completely different in
It
college, and a lot
is.
of people don't understand that. Even in an easy class, like I'm a business major, first semester was really easy for me.
Right.
Cracking jokes about making colored books. They weren't wrong.
They were.
They weren't.
No,
They
that
weren't.
is.
Moved through college after the first semester, going out, having fun, making memories, like trying the unknown is. I lived with one of my closest friends as a roommate, and he was like the biggest introvert, and I
Mm,
was like his like most extroverted friend. Um, so it was like really funny because I'd bring him the stuff, be like, no, you gotta try this, you gotta try this. What if we don't get to do it again? And he never once told me he's like, I regret like doing that.
right.
He always would have told me like a year after, like, man, I regret not coming to you that
Yeah,
one.
absolutely.
Like, so it's like I just always hear that. I always heard that. And I had a sibling, I had an older sister who actually graduated a year ago from UT. So when she was a sophomore, I was a senior in high school. So she kind of would tell me a little bit, so I kind of like prepared myself a little better than
Yeah.
somebody going into like as like an only child or something. um so I got into UT as a freshman, just kind of made a lot of friends, was just like branching out. I was really nervous, which is normal. Then by second semester of freshman year, I was like, all right, I need to lock in and see like what I want to do. Because if I want to be ahead of other people in business with such a big business school we have,
Right.
I got to start looking into things that I find interesting. And one thing I always found interesting was real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, granted, I knew nothing of real estate.
Yeah.
I knew not I just thought, oh man, this looks cool, like potential to make big money and whatnot.
Right.
But I like went into real estate without having a single clue what it was, and was like, I found out there's residential, I found out there was commercial, and started digging into that. But yeah, man, like, do you want me to get into a little bit of my personal habits, or like what's going on?
Yeah. Sure. Let's run personal habits because we're gonna get into the real estate piece as well.
Oh, understood.
But
Yeah.
yeah, certain things like you seem like a very grounded person. So, do you do a lot of reading? Were you reading a lot of like
Mhm.
business books, or were you
Yeah.
doing certain like were you journaling? Like what habits do you think allowed you to ease in, or how would you calm yourself down if you were really stressed as a freshman?
Yeah, honestly, I got to think about that one. Actually, it's been a while. Um, as a freshman, there's so many opportunities that are presented to us,
It's
especially being in a public school,
yeah,
that it's almost like ignorant of you to not to like look at something and be like, I don't even want to give it a try. And of course, a lot of people are made differently. A lot of people are in that interest, just like my roommate, who I was like close friends with, that they don't really take up on that opportunity to like explore avenues, like
hmm
maybe trying to make new friends at like Rocky Top Dining Hall or doing stuff like that. I thought of it as like, if I'm not using this, then of course I can't feel bad for myself. And of course, a lot of people don't work that way. So for me, like what you were saying is like how I'd get myself like back up from being like down or like I'm sad about something, is I'd honestly just try to surround myself with my friends.
yeah,
A lot of people like that doesn't happen to them easily because they're not as good as like making friends like you and whatnot. But even if there's like one friend, like my closest friend ever to this day doesn't even go to UT. He goes to Florida for
wow,
college. So I talk to him maybe once every few months. And like when we do, it's an amazing conversation. And we're
yeah,
like every trip I've gone, it's like what with him. Like this winter, I'm going to Japan with him. But like I haven't spoken to him regardless since then.
right,
So I feel like friends is like such a key part because it's like regardless of if y'all are engineers and like like going into becoming a surgeon or business, it's like if you have somebody to talk to, just like yap about, like I'll yap my issues about you, my day and whatnot, and they do the same to me.
Yeah.
It just makes life so much easier, and that was like the biggest stress relief I got. I mean, other things is just like taking the time to realize, like, and it's also cliche again, but it's like taking time to realize, like, you know, everyone's feeling this. Like,
Right.
if you're a freshman and I'm like, everyone's feeling this way. Like, even people that you think are like have the most amount of friends, like they have a friend group, they feel alone at times. And because what did they do? They just talk to their other friends. Like, you know, like you were saying, like, what else do I do? How do I keep track of stuff? Like, honestly, for me, like I appreciate you saying I'm like I feel grounded in that manner, but I don't really like take the traditional approach a lot of people say. Like I know a lot of old heads be like, I read books and stuff, and I probably will get into like I'm starting to get into reading a little bit just as like a good habit so I don't doom scroll. But let's be real, we're all human. We're
Yeah.
all young. Like no matter how much someone's like, yeah, I have like only 1 hour screen time. It's like, okay, what do you spend the rest doing? Movies? Like what?
It's
Like
always there's always an
yeah,
equivalent.
there's
Yeah.
always something else that we're all young, like everybody from every generation. It's like maybe it's not being doom scrolling, but you're also doing something that's equally what is it, like brain rotted.
Yeah, I guess so.
Everybody's doing something, so it's like for me, it's like I try to do my good habits and whatnot, and I'd say I'm pretty consistent with them, but I'm no better than the average man, you know. And it's like I'm agnostic, completely different topic here. Not religious, but I love a quote from the Bible saying, I think it's Leviticus or something like, "Who am I to judge when I myself walk imperfectly?"
Mm.
Because it's like if someone
That's tough.
else is yeah, if someone else is doing something and I'm like, oh, they're not reading like I am, they're not lowering their screenshot actively. I bet they're doing something else. So it's like, who am I to judge on that? So it's like for me, I guess all I really do is like I keep a calendar, like on Apple Calendar
Yeah.
and whatnot. Other good habits, I always try to hit the gym consistently, even when I'm like not feeling for it, because
Right.
at least I would have done it. And that's just like a discipline thing. I try to be disciplined on that. Always, there's gonna be days where I can't make it, you know. But I think that's just one of my best habits is sticking with something and trying to go through with it. Like for right now, I'd say going to the gym, eating healthy,
Right.
cooking for myself,
Yep.
saving up right now for my Japan trip. So I've been
Yeah.
working like 20 hours for that. And I try to do all that, and I'll get like an hour of free time at night,
Right.
and I'll be like, all right, I'm good with this. But I just feel like having like little sprinkling in little things, like you have like goals for yourself, is so much better than trying to like instantly jump into like I'm gonna go on 6 a.m. runs every day to clear my head. Like just start off small and just start sprinkling more and more in as you get disciplined.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's hard to jump into something. You have to build it up, right?
Of
If you're going to
course,
go on that 6 a.m. run, maybe start at 8 and then
of
work
course.
your way down or something like that. But I think that was a really great point you made about, just having friends around. The value of having people around you cannot be understated enough, like cannot be emphasized enough. People is everything, man.
Yeah,
And I remember even like I was able to give a speech at graduation for high school, and I was emphasizing the importance of the people in the room. Like that is what makes everything, man. If you can't, at the end of the day, if you're stressed out, even if you're a junior, senior, doesn't matter. If you don't have someone to talk to, it hurt. It worsens that.
yeah. I mean, like I
You know.
always say, at the end of the day, it's the end of the day. I mean, everyone,
Oh my God!
everyone,
Hey,
any fun
messing
time.
us up.
Everyone's everyone's have their own problems, and everyone's going through stuff, even if it's different from what you're going through. I mean,
Yeah.
you kind of hit the nail on the head there, Grant. I mean, everyone's going through stuff, and I mean, you just got to focus on yourself at the end.
Right. I'm curious. I mean, I'm curious though. Let's say everyone has the capacity to make friends and meet new people. What would you say to someone who's having trouble making friends, and so when they're having a rough day, who do they talk to? Or
Yeah,
how can they find that friend that can be there for them?
yeah. Honestly, that's a great point you make up because I was saying the exact same thing to the freshman year roommate I was telling you. Because I obviously wasn't there for him all the time just to
Yeah.
talk to. So the number one thing I emphasized for him was I said, make new friends. Let's go. So when I bring him to different places, I'd be like, hey, meet these people. And of course, people don't have that person like me to help them or like somebody else. So I say honestly, the best idea for like freshmen coming in,
Yeah.
I generally can't emphasize this enough. Even if you are the biggest introvert, just like on the first weeks or whatnot of college, um, everyone's trying to make friends.
Yep.
Even if they have their own friend group,
Right.
they're trying to make new friends because, like, maybe they just want to explore different people. Because at the end of the day, not everyone's completely satisfied with their like 10, 15 people friend group. Everybody wants new friends, new people
Yes.
to talk to. Whether it's literally going to the student union and sitting beside someone, hey, what's your name? Or in class, just talking to someone and be
Yep.
like, yo, you want to hang? Like, it sounds fun. And it's like the most cliche thing, right? Because everyone's like always like, oh yeah, that's what you do. You just reach out to make friends. But at the end of the day, it really does get to that point. You just talk to people. And if not even that, like if you're someone who doesn't hang out with people, let's say you play video game, dude, there's so many people on campus. Like if you meet someone in class that plays a video game that you're like,
Yeah,
yo, we should play
absolutely.
together. And just from there, like it's really not as hard as sometimes it seems. And I know that seems a little ignorant from my side, coming from that way. But I think I kind of lied when I said I was an extrovert because I didn't start off that way at all.
Mm,
I'd say like, have you ever
okay.
heard the term like introvert and extrovert or whatnot?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
I always have times where I always want to like just sit at home and do nothing or don't want to talk to people. But it's like just like you said, I get that rush when I do talk to people. So it's like I'll never stop it from coming my way, even if it makes me feel uncomfortable. And I
Right.
feel like at that point, if you're purposely trying to avoid it, knowing that it's going to help you, then it's maybe something you need to work on yourself a little bit. Like maybe try adding different hobbies in and
Mhm.
stuff. And then you could get to a point where you might actually talk to other people. But up until that point, it's hard. It's hard for everyone. And
Yeah.
just make friends with whoever you have like nearby you, and then
Yeah.
just branch out from there, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And it goes along with something that's really important, right? When you're a freshman coming in, you're trying to make new friends, it is uncomfortable. And you were speaking on like how your roommate was introverted, but you pushed him to do things that were a little bit more extroverted, and that was uncomfortable for him. Like at the end of the day, you're not going to be comfortable doing all the stuff, but it pays off. And he never once regretted anything that you brought him to. I don't think you would ever once regret talking to someone that you don't know.
Exactly.
Like the really, it also goes, I've had my fair share of instances with even girls, like cold approach, cold approaching girls. The worst thing that can happen is they say no, right?
Yeah.
But like just with friends, with girls, anything like that, the worst thing that can happen is they, maybe they're having a rough day and they kind of push you
Mhm.
off. But,
Yeah.
it's good practice for you personally as someone, if you are introverted or extroverted, even just going up to someone you don't know, girl or guy, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
To just have a conversation is really
Exactly.
important. So that's a great point. But I would like to transition into the topic of success. Something
Okay.
that, we're
Okay.
both after, obviously, but everyone's after this idea of success. I've had this conversation before on the podcast. I'm curious what your thoughts are on the definition of success, and maybe it changes for you and other people, but what is your definition of success?
So this is a hefty one. A lot of people have different views on like success and however they're going across life. You know, the topic of Sonder or the term of Sonder, everyone has their own life going on all at once. You can't really put a pinpoint on who what because somebody could think success for like monetary fiscal reasons. Other person thinks of having a kid. Other person thinks of being financially free. Um, I feel like at the end of the day, putting that all together in my terms is I feel like success is best defined by constantly wanting to improve yourself.
Mm.
That doesn't mean improve yourself in the gym. I mean, the universe knows how like not strong I am compared to my friends who don't even work out as much as me. But I still want to do it because it's like helping me out and disciplining me in that way. Another way of bettering it can be as small as deciding to read a book
Yeah.
and reading a page a day. I mean,
Yep.
I'm doing that right now. Like yeah, I won't read that much because I'll be like, okay, I'm getting bored. I want to like watch a show or something. But at least I'm taking the step to do it.
You are.
And even at like, and I've met so many, and this is like, of course, when we talk about commercial real estate, like people that are so insightful, people have so much experience, right? Other compared to us because we're still in college and whatnot. But experience is just like it's like people make it seem like oh like they're old they have so much stuff they were in when they say they're in our shoes it doesn't mean they've completely grown out of our shoes
Mm-hmm.
their feet are just like outgrown the shoes that's all it is like they still think the same way we do it's just that they have more to like negate those negative feelings if that kind of
Mm.
makes sense like so many people I've talked to they say the same thing about like success and whatnot it's like if I'm not wanting to improve myself in some way I'm just gonna go back down the rabbit hole. Like I'm gonna start having negative thoughts again. Or if you're somebody that struggles with mental health and every day you try to do something like a hobby, go on walks, try to improve yourself, if one day you just stop and you're like, I don't want to do it anymore, then you're not gonna get any better. And you're even if you reach somewhere, like let's say you really want to make money, even if you do, but your mental health is not getting any better,
Yeah,
is it truly success?
right. And that's a main question that should be asked by everybody because, you think of success as a younger kid as money, right? I mean, personally, that's how I saw it.
Yeah,
And
I do too.
obviously, a part of me still sees it that way, but a lot of that has to do with the media. You see, I was a YouTube kid, so I'm watching a ton of YouTube videos, all these influencers going
Yep.
left, right, center, and you think like I want to be like them. Success to me is travel, it's money. But yeah, if your mental state is not right, then all that money doesn't speak for anything, man. It really is. I think going on a walk is more important than earning the next dollar. Maybe
Yeah.
that's the hot take here, but like I agree. Success is different for everybody. The other way I think you could relate that is, let's say success for you is finding a great career in
Hmm.
commercial real estate. Success for me is not the same thing
Yeah,
because I'm not interested in it the way you are. Success for me would be building this podcast,
of course.
right? So everyone has their own goals, and that contributes to their idea of success. But also, yeah, I think at the end of the day, you can always take the classic argument of being happy is success in
Yeah.
itself, and just having joy on a daily basis is successful.
Hmm.
I don't know.
No, I mean you're saying you're right too. And something I want to add to that is like success, and it's always different parts and different stages of your life. Right now, we want to focus on our careers growing up because you're a sophomore, junior, right?
Some hybrid.
Something
I don't
like
even
still
know.
graduating
I'm
same year
I'm a
as me.
junior. I'm a
But
junior.
like as like a freshman, let's say coming in as a freshman, you don't know what you're doing. So
Right.
if you might have a different success, making friends, being friendly, finding a girlfriend, finding a boyfriend,
Right.
right? Something like that. But once I progress, like to the success I want right now is to get a good career, because I'm getting to unk status. I'm not okay, but I want to like get to that point where I can like make a lot of like I still want to make a ton of money. Like
Yeah.
I always tell my friends I'm gonna make my first million in my 20s. Like I'll do it because I want to do it. I want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
But the number one thing is like there's different ways to keep being successful. In like the different parts of your life, like our 70-year-old grandparents or something want to have a peaceful life. They want to be financially free or something, compared to a child whose success is just being happy,
Yeah.
telling jokes and whatnot. But the number one thing it always comes down to, and this is one of my core ideals, is surround yourself, and you've probably heard this before, is always surround yourself with 5 people. Like you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most.
Hmm.
Um, like generally that is like the most like important thing to
Wow.
me. Because I have friends from my hometown in Oak Ridge who are the most like for lack of better word stupid
Yeah.
people I know, but they're still fun to hang out with. But then I also make sure I constantly try to surround myself with these people in Haslam who I've become friends with throughout the year, and they're just the most brilliant people ever. And every day, it's like I feel like I'm learning something new.
Right.
And they might say the same thing about me, and that
Yeah.
what makes me feel good. I'm like, dang, I'm actually helping somebody out. Like you inviting me to this podcast, like I didn't know I was that insightful, low key. Like I thought I was still learning, but like getting to this position, mentoring people and whatnot, like I am able to do that because I keep surrounding myself with people who I constantly learn from.
Right.
So regardless if you're in medical, and you're surrounding yourself with people who love to study, who are teaching you different ways to study, or in business, like you surround yourself with people like that, or like you for your podcast, like Project Inspire, people that really want to make the Project Inspire better and are into a podcast, like whoever it is. It doesn't. When I say hang out, it doesn't mean you like hang out with them all the time. It means
Right.
surround yourself with them on a basis where you can always learn something for them, either regularly or like weekly or very often.
Yeah. I think that's a great point. I mean, they are the ones passing on the knowledge, and
Exactly.
if you surround yourself, it's a hard balance. It's a hard balance because your friends back home, they're super fun to be around, but they're not gonna make you better.
They will not.
And that's the hard truth of that,
Hmm.
right? Because I have plenty of friends that are like that too. It's amazing being around them, and you're just not going to learn something every day from
Yeah,
those specific people. So I think that's a great piece of advice.
of course.
I did want to touch on something you said earlier that I forgot to mention. That idea of wanting to grow, right? Which is interesting because I think some people would say success is growing and seeing progression, but you're saying just wanting to do it. The
Yeah.
mindset of wanting to be better is actually more about success, which I think is interesting. I think it's true as well. If you
Yeah,
want to succeed, you will succeed. Like that's I think that's a fair thing to say. If
it
you want
is.
it bad enough, you will get it.
Yeah.
So I think that was a great piece there. Um, let's think about with us being I'm almost unk too, man. I turned 20 in October, and
He's
it's
still
like,
young, man.
yeah, that's what everyone else be saying, but I'm old compared to my friends too. So it's like,
I'm like young compared to my friends. They're all 21 now.
yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're all kind of we're in the back end.
I mean, like from the youngest person we know, like maybe a 16-year-old to somebody we know is 25, we're all watching the same For You page on
Dude,
Reels and
that
TikTok.
is a great point.
Like,
That is
it's
a
so
great point.
crazy. Like, all those things.
Yeah.
Like, side note, sorry, I know we're not supposed to going into CRE right now, but I just had a coffee chat. I went up to Nashville last weekend, just out of the blue. My friend, he hadn't seen his parents in a while. I'm like, I don't want to drive alone, so I was like, come with me, and I crashed it over his place. I had a coffee chat with this guy who's a senior associate at a top three CRE firm. We talked for like an hour and a half. 90% of the time, we were just cracking jokes, and like I generally felt like I was talking to a friend because the
Yeah.
guy was making jokes about like TikTok and stuff, and I was like, aren't you supposed to be finding cap rates and all
Yeah.
this stuff in your market? And he goes, oh yeah. And he starts talking to me about his like love life. He goes, you know what? I really want to like marry this girl. I'm like, what are we talking about right now? And it's like so crazy because he's 27,
Yeah.
and it's like, yes, that's like old compared to us, but it's so young. Like these people, we're all seeing the same thing in
Yeah.
life. Like we're all experiencing the same news. We're all experiencing it, maybe in different ways, but I don't know. We're on the same boat.
Everyone wants to talk about the same things,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know. So my question is, it sounds crazy to even be talking about success, to be honest. But how can we or other students set ourselves up for success in the mentality of wanting to improve or getting to those career goals? How can people begin to achieve the goals? What advice would you give them, I guess?
So you mean like how they're?
How can they achieve their own success? Even being a
Oh,
freshman, a sophomore, how
yeah.
can they begin to do that? Obviously, it takes 10, 20 years to get to that point
hmm
potentially, but how can they start? How can I start?
First thing is literally becoming the best. No, I'm just kidding. Not becoming the best. It's the first thing is literally just like it's like the first thing we said. It's just start developing good habits, and that is like this like all the stuff I'm saying sounds like the stuff I see online where they're
Yeah.
like these people on these podcasts sounding smart. But like now I feel like I'm kind of relating because it's like good habits. All this stuff seems super like superficial and whatnot, but once you start doing stuff, it's like you know what? This is actually pretty nice. Like, the first thing I'd say is like if you said like in your shoes to start developing success, like in your own way, is figure out like you don't have to figure out what you want to do in life, but figure out what you like to do in life.
Mm,
If you like talking to people, if you like having a podcast, like you're saying, talking to me right now, then you'd probably want to reach out to more people you think are successful. Like one thing I told you is our guy that we work with, Tyler, super influential guy too. I was like,
yeah.
you know what, Grant, maybe you could interview him too,
Yeah,
and he'd be
absolutely.
down for it. Like and like somebody else in a difference, like maybe an engineering major or something, they want to work on being more open,
Hmm.
or maybe a comp sci. My comp sci majors are all like they're all like
A
Marvel
little.
rival of junior. Yeah, they don't talk to
Yeah,
people,
I
but
know how that goes.
but like the first thing I say for them is like if you want to set yourself apart and be successful, is just surround yourself with more people that aren't comp sci majors. And one of my friends is doing that now, and he has like a pretty good network of people he talks to and whatnot. And it's like it's different for everyone, but I can't emphasize it enough. Is like people will change everything. Like the world revolves around us as humans. This is philosophical, but it's like I can't emphasize how much I've like been I guess ahead of other people in like ways of just like networking, I guess, and just
Hmm.
realize like taking advice from someone and like just talking to people. It really somebody else's ideas might be the solution you've been trying to find in like over 10 years.
Right,
Like if something they just thought about on the spot and
right.
vice versa with you and somebody else. Well, obviously you won't say it and they won't say that. They won't be like, Eureka, Grant, you just helped me with everything. Your Granted podcast solved my life's problem. but they'll probably have that thought, and that thought might correlate to something else, and a good habit like reading a book, going on runs, hitting the gym, eating healthy, saving money, anything like that. But once you start developing that and get yourself like a pretty good schedule of doing that,
Yeah.
I feel like it's really easy to go into a good rabbit hole of good habits and constantly wanting to improve yourself.
Yeah.
Um, Sorry, I'm like yapping on this a little bit,
No, I love it.
but one good thing I like say for another one of my core ideals is like my own personal ego. Um, I always tell my friends this. They know me as this all the time, like how egoistic I could be and how arrogant I could be. As like satirically, I could be arrogant.
Yeah.
But one thing I always hold true to myself, and I guess it's just probably the media I consume or anything, but I always try to like have this ego in my mind that I'm better than my previous self. I mean,
Mm,
there's like a quote from Ernest Hemingway. I might butcher this, but it's like there's no true nobility in being superior than to your fellow man, but there is nobility in being superior to your former
former
self.
self.
You know that.
It was
He
from the
knows that.
Kingsman too.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that quote's amazing because that kind of just encapsulates what I'm trying to go for and what I'm driven for. It's like I believe personally. This is just maybe I'm like a psycho or something. I believe I want to be better than the person I was before, and like a mindset where I want to like be so much better.
Yeah.
I'm not like if I saw this guy, if I see myself in a month and I'm like looking back at myself now, I'm like I gotta crush this guy. Like there's no way I'm gonna be like this behind or
Right.
something. So it's like a personal mindset for me. But I always call it ego because it's like you should always have this ego to your previous self. Like I'm the best. Like I'm the best.
Yeah.
But you should never let that seep out exterior wise. Does that kind of make
Yeah,
sense? Like
absolutely.
you should never.
Inner competition.
Yeah, yeah. Inner competition. You should never let this like self be shown to other people. Like being humble, I guess is what you call it. Like obviously, like I have competition with my friends and stuff, but it's like you should never like to somebody else you don't know. Like you should never be like, oh yeah, I'm better than this person.
Right.
But deep down, you should always be like, how can I be better than myself? Like in this manner, and that's just like one of my ideals. But I think it could help with success. Like that's what always motivated me from like when I flipped the switch in high school and realized I needed to lock in. So
Yeah, I think that's great. That is a great saying, something I came across recently within, have you watched The Kingsman
no, I
before?
haven't,
It's a
but
super violent movie, but
yeah,
basically they dropped that quote. It's like super tough, but I think
I try to replicate that,
that
guys.
that toughness has been replicated. Now we're here.
The
But
aura.
that's right. And I think that goes just along with what you were saying. You success as wanting to improve, wanting to be superior to your former self.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Do you actually do a monthly comparison sort of deal, or are you doing
No,
like
no.
maybe a year you look back and you're like, that's the previous me.
It's nothing. It's not even anything crazy like that too. Like some people try to be like, oh yeah, like journalism's fine. Like I know a bunch of my friends, they do journalism. They write down their notes and whatnot, and it's great for their mental health. I just personally don't operate that way. It's like as just like a normal person, just like you. Like maybe once after 9 p.m. hits, or once you're about to fall asleep, you start thinking about stuff.
You
And
do.
you know when you get those feelings, you're like, embarrassing moments you recall and stuff like that. I try to always say you should never like when people say like don't live with regrets and stuff.
Yeah.
That is like it's so true to the point where it's like so like kind of corny to say it, but it's like of course everybody has regrets,
Right.
but that's not what the point is. It's the point is like don't ever think it's a regret. If you tell yourself something's not a regret enough to the point where you're gaslighting yourself that it's not a regret, then it won't be a regret. Like
Right.
everyone has past mistakes, everyone has past embarrassments, but if you're just like, you know what, I don't regret that, then you'll be fine. But what you said about the monthly yearly thing, I don't do that. But maybe if I'm sleeping, I just think about like how I was like sophomore year. I'm like, you know what, I'm doing much better. Like actually having a conversation with one of my friends who's super successful in nursing and whatnot. I was talking to him. I said, I've been sending more emails to people back and forth, like professionally. I have this past month than I have all of sophomore year.
Yeah.
And that's just like, that sounds so stupid. Like, what are you talking about emails for? But it's like, I don't know, just that kind of makes me like, wow, I feel busy. And feeling
Right.
busy makes me feel good. Like, or at least I'm just saying that to say it, but it's like, I feel good that I have like a pretty busy schedule and I'm always doing something, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if your time is taken up doing something like sending an email
Mm-hmm.
instead of doom scrolling, that's a win. I mean,
Yeah.
as long as if you can fill as much time in the day without being on the media, I think that's a plus for
Hmm.
sure. Like there's a reason I never had TikTok in high school for that reason. Like I was just scared of it just kind of it can ruin your life,
It
man.
can.
You can sit there all day and not do anything, not go to class at
Yeah,
this
and,
point.
and it ruins your thoughts truly too. I mean, like
Yeah.
with everything happening in the world right now, like politically too,
Yeah.
it's so easy to get yourself into like a deep rabbit hole of political propaganda from either side. And
Yeah.
I personally went into college being like moderate. Now I'm a little bit left leaning just due to the state of the world right now and how I feel personally. But if my friend was like right leaning, I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, like
Yeah, flip your
But
shit
yeah,
on
yeah.
it. Yeah.
I think being extremist on both ends just gets to it.
It's bad.
It gets but it's like it's so funny because the loudest voices are the most extreme
Right.
voices. So all that stuff you're seeing on TikTok or Instagrams that isn't brain rot or anything, like that's just louder voices. And it's like if you take a step back and just talk to someone, no one's gonna be like that. Like no one's being like completely, I don't know, like extreme. Like
Yeah.
maybe yes, there is some people I know that are, and like even though I'm left leaning, like like a lot of friends I hang out with are like really extreme, and I even tell them I'm like I don't want to talk to you about this. Like I don't care. Like at the end of the day, if you just take a step back, and I'm saying this as just like a personal reason because there was like a few months that I got into really big like political propaganda on my like reels and TikTok, and I was like, where's all like the brain rot and stuff? Like where's this stuff? And it got to me because then like I'd have like my close friends who were right leaning, and then I would like literally like after 9 p.m. hits and you get these like negative thoughts and you're like, man, like why are they doing this? Why are they thinking this way? But then we like talk about like some other things like the show we watched or like some anime we watched and we're like, why was I thinking this way?
Right.
Like it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're not in a position. I mean, maybe you are if you're gonna go into becoming a lawmaker or something. We're not in a position to do anything.
No.
It's just opinions. Sure, if there's opinion I really disagree with, then sure I'll say something about it. But if not, then it truly doesn't matter to me enough to make a statement on it. Like that's gonna harm me. Like
Yeah.
end of the day, it's I'm a human. Like this is my brain. This is my heart. Why am I trying to harm myself? And that's just kind of what got me out of that rabbit hole. Is like that got me back to my doom scrolling in my brain rot. Is like I don't need to be digesting this media
No.
because
No.
it's gonna harm me. It's not gonna harm anything else. It's not gonna make my friends who do think a different way than me think even worse in that way. All it's gonna do is change my perspective and make me start having negative thoughts about people. I don't like feeling that way, so it's like it's kind of what it is.
Yeah. I have a question for you because I've seen politics ruin I've seen politics ruin relationships within my family.
Yeah,
Um, I think it could be argued that if you go down that rabbit hole politically, it can also ruin your relationships because
definitely can.
there's a very fine line, man. I do not like to talk politics, especially being from Colorado. It's just
Yeah,
like it's better left unsaid, man,
yeah,
and it will always be that way, even if I'm talking with someone I agree with.
yeah.
Like it's just something that people are very sensitive about,
Mm-hmm.
and
It
unless
is
you're coming at it with an unbiased point of view, both parties in the conversation, it normally doesn't work too great.
exactly. I mean,
So consuming the media
yeah.
can only make you feel stronger about your own opinions, which will then potentially come out in a conversation with maybe your closest friend.
Yeah,
Closest friend doesn't like that. Now you're at a crossroads. Like it's
exactly.
just not great for anybody. And I think that's
And I'll just say like a little note on that too is like if you surround yourself with real like back what I was saying, surround yourself with really educated people, there's people you can speak politics to even if y'all disagree.
absolutely
Because at the end of the day, none of if you both are educated, you both aren't extremists.
right.
That's like one of my firm beliefs is if you're educated on the matter of everything that's going on and you're not biased, which is really hard to be. Of course, I'm biased on some things.
Yeah.
That's just how I live. Some people live a different way. They're biased on different things. That's human. But it's like if you're both like moderately unbiased on stuff, you can have a civil conversation about something. But if you're like extreme on both ends, then it's better left unsaid.
Hmm.
And like for me personally, I don't want to be hanging out with someone who is openly talking about extreme views all the time because that's just so annoying. Like that's just the best way to put it. It's like
Yeah.
annoying.
Yeah.
We're not lawmakers. We're not politicians. We could just have opinions on stuff. And like sometimes I'm gonna be honest with you. Like sometimes I'll talk to people and be like, "Your opinion's wrong," but I'm not gonna say it because I don't care enough, you know?
Right.
Like I'll just be like in my mind, I'm like, well,
I
I'm not
disagree,
talking.
but
Yeah, I'm not gonna
yeah.
talk to them about this because it's only gonna make me more enraged. And like one thing, sorry if I cursed one time real quick, but no, but one of the only quotes that I ever remember that my dad has ever taught me, like one of the only things I ever remember him teaching me on this manner, like something that's like philosophical, because I always hear my friends they'll be like, oh yeah, my dad taught me this or my mom taught me, like my parents did TV, they just taught me to
Yeah.
be kind. But one of the things that my dad always taught me is if you argue with a dumbass, you are the dumbass. Like
Mm,
there is no other way to go about that. And man, I've been rereading that stuff, especially right now with everything going on.
yeah.
I'll like just sit and I'll be like into a conversation and I'll remember me saying that to myself or to a
Yeah.
friend, like, what am I doing? I
Yeah.
am the dumbass here. Like, why are you arguing with
Just let it
someone?
go.
Yeah, just let it go. And it's the hardest thing to do.
It
That is
is
letting it go because you're
because
so
they're the
passionate.
dumbass.
Yeah,
And you want to
exactly.
let them
You
know,
want to let them know
but
you're the
they're not
dumbass.
going to change their point of view, so it's not
Exactly.
even
It's
worth
it's it's the hardest thing, but the most like the successful thing, the biggest thing to overcome something to truly be successful is to learn to let stuff go, learn to forgive. I guess a lot of like whether you're agnostic, whether you're atheist, whether you're religious, all religions and all just morality comes down to like if you're trying to be, you know, when they say like you're trying to be the bigger person,
it. Yeah.
at the end of the day, it really is because if you are the bigger person, it won't affect you. It's only affecting them.
Right.
If someone makes fun of you, they're they're kind of losers because like, are you really making fun of someone you're not like you're friends with that much? I'm not saying like if you're friends with someone, then I always make fun of my friends, but it's
Yeah.
like it just gets to a point where it's like comical. It's like you're like that sad in your life that you're like
And you
making
need
fun of
to point
others.
at someone else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then you gotta like vent that out to somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always think that's kind of funny. So
Yeah. I think that was a good cap on that
yeah.
conversation for sure. Before we get into the real estate interests, would you like to promote the energy drink we have sitting
Oh
behind
yeah.
you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and show it off.
Energy, guys. This is it's a really nice drink. The zero sugar, only 5 calories. It's really good. It honestly tastes like kind of tastes like Red Bull. I mean, Red Bulls. Everyone drinks Red Bull. Has different flavor, like a little bit more sour, sweet to it. Other than that, I'm not the biggest energy drinker, but I tasted this. I was like, it's pretty good, man. It's pretty
It
good.
tastes like success, and it's better than the competitors. So go ahead and give it a try. Tennessee Energy,
Of course,
Tenergy,
Tenergy.
Tenergy, unpaid ad. We'll tag you guys in the description. Okay, well, let's get into your interest in real estate, something
Okay.
that you found kind of at the beginning of or end of freshman year. Talk to me a little bit about how you found what you find interesting, where you want to take it in the future, and kind of what does it look like for you in the future?
Okay. Honestly, start with me getting into it. I kind of touched on that a little bit. Uh, I was confused about real estate in general, residential, commercial, and just real estate in general. Other than that, yeah, there's like a mosquito flying around me.
Yeah, I see it.
But I was just so confused, and it's so broad.
Yeah,
There's like acquisitions. There's like brokerage. There's like leasing advice. There's so much stuff that it's like it's really hard to be like, what do I want to do? Um, I went into it and I like talked to, and honestly, it wasn't even like a crazy story or anything. I just went to like one of the career fairs. Before I went to the career fairs, I researched some of the companies. I just searched up real estate,
hmm
found a few of the companies. One of them called Matthews Real Estate. They were brokerage, and I was like, this seems really interesting. 'Cause it's like sales, honestly, but it's very professional because like you get commission, but
right,
it scares most people because it's all commission. You could go a year without making money for your first year ever, but the second you do, you have like 5 loyal clients that you're gonna keep making like
right,
netting 500,000 off of. So I always just thought like the risk to reward for me, just the type of person I am. Like my friend, he's a big accounting guy. He's one of the most successful people I know. He's a senior. He's going back to one of the top four accounting firms as like a consultant or something. He's gonna be making like 6 figures all the time, but it's like more stable for him. If I continue what I'm doing and keep saying I will do it, which I told you, like I told my friends all the time, like I'm gonna make my million from 20 or something, but when I'm 25 or something, for me it's like although I won't be making that much money in the beginning, I know if I continue grinding and like the type of person I am, if I believe in myself, which is so corny, but it's like if I believe in myself, I can definitely get to the point where I can be making way more than that. that's just like my own personal thing. So I was like, I want to do brokerage.
Yeah.
Like sales is just like from what we're talking right now. Like I'm a yapper. Like I love speaking to people, and like well, we both love speaking to people. We get a rush out of it.
Right.
Sales is like the perfect thing. Sales not in the fact that it's like selling Cutco knives or something or knocking door to door sales. That I hate.
Yeah.
I think I can never do.
Yeah.
But like we're selling like solar panels. Or, no hate to people that do it unless they come after me. But what I really wanted to do is go into like a higher regime of that, like a higher business stature type of sales, and brokerage and commercial real estate was the stuff for me. Like I went into Matthews, they're all like in suits all the time. They go to different client events like Charlotte, North Carolina, Chicago. Like
Hmm.
they fly out there, shake hands, talk to people, make deals, grab food with them. Like the guy I worked under who's 29, he's making like millions a year. And all he does is go on these events. He has like loyal clients, and like one of them, he loves hunting. He brought him on a hunting event.
Yeah.
It's like these people that are like these like millionaires, but you're the authority. Like
Right.
you know everything that's going on in the market. They don't. So it's like if you're able to, it's all on you. It's like entrepreneur. It's entrepreneurial is what I think of it. Is like if I'm not putting in enough effort, then I won't get what I get. You know. So it's like I feel like that's good for me. A
Yeah.
lot of my friends love and they're all into investment banking.
Yep.
I mean,
I know that pathway.
everyone knows investment banking and private equity. That's like the biggest thing people talk about. But it's like high ceiling and high floor. CRE brokerage is the lowest floor imaginable, $0 almost, and then but the unlimited ceiling.
Right.
It's like you get to pick and choose what you want to go from there. And I am not like a super computer savvy, sit behind a screen all day, every day type of guy. I want to get out there and do deals. I want to be the person that like actually make sure, yeah, we're closing this deal. It's me and you're getting sold, and I get a commission on it, and make like if it's a really good deal, I get like 100,000 off of that on that one check.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of like that drive for me that like makes me like I would do this for my life. You know, because I enjoy it. It's the same amount of work, if not more, with investment bankers. But by your third year, if you're putting in enough effort, you can make 4 times as much as investment bankers, if not more.
Right. Just
So it's
totally
like
based
that's
on.
just like my personal opinion. Of course, I'm not in the field, but everybody I've talked to, they all tell me the same thing. Like all the calls I've been doing lately, they're like, Neil, I just gotta let you know, you sound like a really smart individual. You gotta also understand. I'm sure people tell you this, but it's like, it's you eat what you kill. Like it is. It's a hard business because you need to be open. You need to be a good communicator. You
Yeah.
need all this. I'm like, but this is the stuff I like doing. Like I
Yeah.
love talking and stuff. So it's like I'd rather be doing that and not be miserable with my life than like sit behind a computer doing accounting, like
Right.
doing some type of like charts and whatnot, stock holding and all that.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, it's purely based off those relationships that you're building.
Exactly, it's a relationship game.
Don't you think that you could? I feel like you could do pretty well off year one. Even I don't feel like $0 in sales would be realistic for you, but
It it takes like well, yeah, I don't know other firms, but in Maltese they say like it's like 6 to 18 months for the first deal to happen.
okay.
It's kind of sitting on no money though.
Yeah.
But it's just because how long the process is. So what they say is like you're supposed to be working every day, like trying to get more deals. So then another 6 months goes by, but then every day if you're doing it, it's like a constant
Got
flow.
another deal
Um,
almost every week or so.
it's like that's just what I've been getting out of it as like an unfiltered view of it
Hmm.
because I haven't been working as an internship doesn't mean everything, but I just really liked it. So I've been making calls and whatnot and going from there.
Yeah, I love it. Well, what would you say to people? I'm actually just curious myself. How are you connecting with people through these calls? I know we talked about it briefly. You know, you can reach out to people, but they might not respond to you. So how are you connecting with other professionals in the field, and what advice do you have for like networking and
Yeah,
stuff?
this is like the number one advice that I can always give to people is like never be afraid to just like if you have somebody college is such a useful tool. There'll be professors and stuff that even if you're in your class, even if you're in their class and you've never spoken to them in their life, their whole job is to help you out. If you
Yeah,
send them an email, and I had a different avenue, I'll tell you mine in a second, but like if you're just starting off fresh, if you have no other avenue to get you connected to someone, start off with a professor. Start off with a faculty. Start off with like a friend of a friend. Like it's not even nepotism. If you know someone who might be able to connect you, go from there.
yeah,
Like, but like just talk to a professor. Be like, hey, professor, blah blah blah. Like, I'm going into this field. Would you happen to have any contacts I could reach out to?
right.
not nine times, 10 times out of 10, they're gonna give you at least one.
Right.
From that contact, you send them an email like, "Hey, my name is Grant Thorne. I'm like, I'm this. I know it's a little out of the blue. Be a little human with it. I know it's a little out of the blue, but would you be mind to like schedule a call sometime so I can take some advice from you? Never be like, oh, can we call so I can like have an internship? It's like, I want to learn from you.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like speaking about themselves, especially
Right.
in a business like mine? Like everybody wants to speak about themselves, so they won't say no. For or at least what I haven't encountered that. What I did was I worked like in my internship, and there's this guy I worked under. Well, not worked under, but he was in the office, and he's like 23, but he's insane. He's like the biggest, like hardest worker I know. He's like 23. It's his third year at the place, and on his third year, like starting off the third year,
Yeah.
he netted 250,000 by June,
Wow.
like after taxes. I mean not after taxes, before after taxes. Sorry, after tax. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But he was just such an influence, and he loves the Vols. Like he absolutely loves it. He gets into arguments with people in the office and stuff. I think it's funny, but I was like a Vol too, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna use that to my advantage.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey Tanner, and he really liked me because I won like 75% of the competitions we did, so I kind of got an eye on that. But I was like, I literally just messaged him out of nowhere. Hadn't talked to him in a long time, and I just messaged him, and I was like, "Hey Tanner," or I found his email first, and I emailed him. Was like, "Hey Tanner, like, would you have any time?" Didn't get an email back for like 2 weeks. I was like, "Oh man, like, what am I supposed to go from here? Like, I don't have anybody."
Right.
Then I finally got an email back. It was on my spam, and I check it. And he goes,
Ah.
"Text me back on this number." So I did. Didn't answer me for another week. I mean, he's busy, so I
Right.
understand. And I followed up with him, and that's another thing I'll get into is following up. Is
Yeah.
even if it seems embarrassing, follow up. And then he responded like, "Oh, thanks Neil for following up. Let's talk." And then he talked to me, he answered some of my questions, gave me a contact that works at a top three CRE firm, which I told you when I went to Nash. Um, that guy, talked to him for like an hour and a half. He really enjoyed talking to me. All I did that entire call, it's like people are so afraid to call people. You just say you want to learn from them and be like, how does your day look like? Like, what do
Yeah.
you do? Like, just learn. Just
Yeah.
like learn, learn, learn. And in the end, of course, I was like, yeah, so do you guys have like an internship position? Like, this seems really interesting, especially from all the stuff you've been telling me. Like, make them say like it was everything they said.
Right.
And then just be like, also, do you have any other contacts I could reach out to? Or just text him afterwards. And he gave me this guy who's based out in Chicago. Insanely networked dude. He's like the vice president of this one brokerage firm. And he gave me like five of their contacts from
Wow.
different across the US. I
Amazing.
texted them, literally just copy and pasted my message. I was like, hey, this is Neil. Like, Dan gave me your. I just changed the name up. Instead of saying Alex gave me your contact or
Yep.
Tanner gave me your contact, I was like, Dan gave me your contact. And from there, we talked too. Literally just talked for like an hour with that guy, with another guy, talked with an hour. And they're all like, yeah, we have this internship thing too. Like, if you're reaching back out, like, we can get something set up. I was like, this is so easy.
It's amazing, man.
It's just scary because it's like you don't want to do that. And literally, few of the contacts, I got to the position because they're so busy and they're such a like high net worth individual. Like the guy had over $1 billion in transactions that I talked to this last Friday. Kind of made me. I'm not gonna lie, it pissed me off a little bit because he was like, I took away time from my class. I like told my professor like, yo, I'm gonna be able to make it. I got a call, and he's like, I bet. And I texted him. I was like, hey, we still good for 1:30 p.m. He goes, Neil, I'm actually at a conference right now. Can we push it tomorrow? I was like, dog, like, are you serious? Obviously,
Yeah.
I couldn't say that, so I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fine. We got to Wednesday. He's like, oh, Neil, I'm so sorry. I still am at the conference. Something came up. I was like, this guy. But I'm like, I still got to talk to him. So then I took a little bit of initiative. I'm like, I'm not just gonna let him like keep talking to me. I was like, all right, I have this time and I have this time. What works for you? He's like, the second time, because sometimes they want you to take authority.
Right.
So then we talked, and it was great. He gave me like more people that I'm gonna keep contacting and whatnot. But something about him I really realized is nobody ever, and they all tell me this, especially the guy I met, is like nobody that's super busy is ever trying to ignore your like text.
No.
They're not like a situationship or like I'm talking to a friend. And
Right.
like, this person's being a like bitch or something like they're just like they're not purposely half swiping your Snapchat
Yeah.
comments. They're just half so much they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's like I followed up with this guy like 2 times. I was like, "Hey, just following up with you. Like, would you want to call then?" And then he didn't answer. I
Okay.
was like, "I bet it doesn't matter." And every single one of them told me, I'm not kidding. Every single one of them, they said the exact same thing. They said, Neil, you're doing the right thing. Like, don't stop like asking for follow ups until you get a definitive no."
Yeah.
Like, because they respect that. They
Right.
respect the hustle, where at least in my industry they do.
Right.
But I know they do that for every part in business. And in any high net worth investment bankers based off Chicago, New York, any private equity investors, like anything like that, they all respect their time and they respect yours if you keep following up.
Okay.
There's just kind of embarrassment. Like, just get over it.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's a lot of information, but it's a lot of helpful information. I'll tell you that. Yeah, I think that can help a lot of people. It really just starts with one call,
Yeah,
and then reaching out and being literally just showing curiosity, and then going from there, asking for contacts, and then take
of
it
course.
away. Well, that was great. Do you have anything else that you would like to cover before we call it off, or?
No, man. Yeah, it took a lot of time right there, but I don't know. I guess we kind of covered it all. I mean, just personal success is making good habits, and
Good
whatever industry
habits.
you're in, whatever industry you're in, you can always be better if you just talk to people. I mean, that's the number one thing I learned in my life. Different insight.
Talking to people, man.
But also, I think the other, like the biggest thing I'd say in life is to watch Granted podcasts.
Oh my
It has helped
gosh,
me so much
yo.
in life. Like I like grown from a baby to a man
Yeah,
watching
that's
this.
right. And honestly, people tend to say that to me a lot of the time. But this episode has been so focused on self-improvement that this is going to be a big one, man.
You think,
And
yeah,
I'm really grateful that you took the time to come talk to me today
of
and
course.
hop on the show, man. This is rekindling what I want to do, and I'm happy that it starts with you. So,
Yeah, well, I appreciate you paying for like my two Uber X rides and
yeah, I
whatnot,
got you,
and
bro,
paying for
for
that
sure.
coffee and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely.
Thank you so
Dude,
much,
thanks
man.
for coming on, man. This is Neil, everybody. We're Audi 5000. Thank you for listening to another episode of Granted. We'll catch you next week.
Catch you.
Peace.